He was perhaps he was my dearest friend and my best friend, not as man and woman, but as...
The 6 actors who refused to attend John Wayne's funeral. John Wayne was born Marion Robert Morrison on May 26, 1907 in Winterset, Iowa. He did not grow up with silver spoons or Hollywood perks. His family lived modestly before moving to Southern California, chasing better chances and bigger dreams. As a young man, Wayne stood out in school and on the football field, earning a scholarship to the University of Southern California. He looked set for a sports career, but fate stepped in hard. A brutal injury crushed his football future and forced him to rethink everything he thought his life would be. That painful setback pushed him toward something bigger than he ever imagined. Wayne started from the bottom at Fox Film Corporation, taking on odd jobs and learning how movies were really made. He carried props, worked behind the scenes, and soaked up knowledge like a sponge. This was not glamour. This was grind. During this time, legendary director John Ford noticed him. Ford saw something raw and powerful in the tall, quiet young man. He did not just offer him roles. He mentored him, shaped him, and helped build the screen presence that would later dominate Hollywood. Wayne's early career was no overnight success story. The 1930s were packed with low-budget westerns and small roles that barely made headlines. He was working non-stop, but fame stayed out of reach. Still, he kept sharpening his style, building that calm, tough guy image that felt real and grounded. Then came 1939. Stagecoach hit theaters and everything changed. Playing the Ringo Kid, Wayne exploded onto the scene with a mix of strength, quiet pain, and magnetic charm. Audiences could not look away. In one film, he went from just another actor to a full-blown star. After that breakthrough, there was no slowing him down. Over the next decades, Wayne became one of Hollywood's most dependable box office giants, starring in more than 170 films. His partnership with John Ford delivered classics like My Darling Clementine, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, The Searchers, and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. These were not just westerns. They were cultural statements. In The Searchers, Wayne's role as Ethan Edwards showed a darker, more conflicted side of the frontier hero. He was not just brave and bold. He was complicated, haunted, and morally torn. Many critics still call it the finest performance of his career. Wayne also locked in his status through war films that matched the mood of the country at the time. Movies like Sands of Iwo Jima, The Longest Day, and In Harm's Way presented him as steady, commanding, and unshaken under pressure. He played leaders who carried heavy responsibility without complaint. In Sands of Iwo Jima, his performance earned him his first Academy Award nomination. That nod proved he was more than a tough face on a movie poster. He could bring deep emotion to characters who did not always show their feelings openly.
And to this day, his kids say to me, "Come on, Eddie Maureen, you know more about Dad than anybody else."
Even though many people linked him to traditional masculinity, Wayne showed serious range across his career. He could be funny and self-aware in McClintock, gentle and reflective in The Shootist, and even quietly romantic in several westerns and adventure stories. He was not stuck in one lane. He knew how to shift gears when the script called for it. That versatility kept him relevant for decades in an industry that forgets people fast. In 1976, The Shootist marked his final film, and it felt deeply personal. Wayne played an aging gunfighter facing death, and the role hit close to home. He had battled cancer in real life, and that reality gave the performance weight that could not be faked. The film became more than entertainment. It felt like a farewell to an era and to the man himself. There was honesty in every scene, a quiet reflection on legacy, mortality, and dignity. It was powerful and unforgettable. Back in 1970, Wayne finally received the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role as Rooster Cogburn in True Grit. The character was rough around the edges, flawed, stubborn, but unexpectedly warm-hearted. Fans loved him for it. Rooster perfectly captured the qualities people had admired in Wayne for years. The Oscar was not just for one performance. It was recognition of a career built on consistency, personal conviction, and a strong bond with audiences. He did not chase trends. He did not reinvent himself every few years. He stayed solid, stayed true, and built a legacy that still sparks debate today. John Wayne's personal life was just as intense as the characters he played on screen. Behind the tough voice and steady walk was a man caught in passionate romances, rocky marriages, and family drama that never really cooled down. Love, loyalty, pride, heartbreak, it was all there. His private world was layered, emotional, and sometimes explosive, and it shaped him just as much as Hollywood did. Wayne first married Josephine Alicia Science in 1933, long before he became a box office giant. At that time, he was still fighting for roles and trying to prove himself in a brutal industry. Their marriage grew alongside his rising fame, which meant long days on set, constant travel, and pressure that never switched off. There was real affection between them, but fame can stretch a relationship thin. As Wayne's star power increased, so did the distance at home. During their 12 years together, they had 4 children: Michael, Mary Antonia, Patrick, and Melinda. His children meant everything to him, and Michael and Patrick later stepped into the film world, keeping the Wayne name alive in Hollywood. Still, by 1945, the strain was too heavy. The marriage ended in divorce, closing one emotional chapter but leaving scars that did not fade easily. In 1946, Wayne married Mexican actress Esperanza Chata Bauer. She was bold, fiery, and strong-willed, just like him. At first, their connection burned bright, but 2 strong personalities under one roof can turn sparks into flames fast. Their relationship became known for intense arguments, jealousy, and emotional highs and lows that shook their home. What started as passion slowly turned into tension and constant conflict. By 1954, the marriage collapsed under the weight of its own chaos. The split was painful and public, and it deepened Wayne's belief that lasting love was hard to protect when fame is always watching. That same year, Wayne married Peruvian actress Pilar Palete. She brought a softer energy into his world, and for a while, things felt steadier. Their relationship lasted much longer than his previous marriages, and together they had 3 children: Asa, John Ethan, and Marisa. His family circle grew even bigger, and Wayne embraced his role as a father with pride. He was known to be protective and deeply involved with his kids, even with his demanding schedule. But even this marriage faced pressure. His career remained intense, his personality strong, and their expectations slowly drifted apart. After 19 years, they separated. They never officially divorced, though, keeping a complicated but lasting bond that showed how tangled love and loyalty can be.
Secrets then, they're secrets now, and they'll always be secrets. But there's so many stories.
After separating from Pilar, Wayne found companionship with Pat Stacy, his former secretary. Their relationship raised eyebrows at the time, but it brought him comfort during his final years. They lived together, and Pat stayed by his side as his health declined. Through illness and aging, she offered steady support and care. It was not a traditional arrangement by the standards of that era, but it gave Wayne something he needed deeply: stability when everything else felt uncertain. When John Wayne passed away on June 11, 1979, at 72 years old, the world reacted in a big way. Hollywood lost one of its most towering and debated figures. Known everywhere as the Duke, he was more than just a film star. He represented rugged independence, fierce patriotism, and strong conservative values that inspired some and angered others. Off-screen, just like on screen, he lived boldly, loved intensely, and left behind a legacy that still sparks conversation today. His funeral at Our Lady of the Angels Church in Los Angeles brought together family, close friends, and major Hollywood names who respected what he built on screen. The pews were filled with powerful faces, quiet tears, and heavy history. But sometimes who does not show up speaks louder than who does. Several big stars stayed away, and their absence was not random. For many of them, it traced back to years of political tension, personal clashes, and deep moral disagreements with the bold image Wayne stood by without apology. John Wayne never tried to soften his opinions. He spoke straight, even when it sparked outrage. In a 1971 interview, he controversially stated, "I believe in white supremacy until the blacks are educated to a point of responsibility," a comment that cemented his reputation as a lightning rod for criticism. He also declared, "I'm not ashamed of being an American, and I believe in America first." Those words hit different depending on who was listening. Some people saw pride and patriotism. Others saw division and exclusion. That sharp split followed him all the way to his funeral. Steadier. Jane Fonda staying away surprised no one. The divide between her and Wayne was wide and very public. During the Vietnam War, Fonda became one of the loudest anti-war voices in Hollywood, while Wayne stood firmly behind U.S. military involvement. He did not hold back either. Wayne once said about protesters, "They call it protest. I call it treason." That line alone shows how far apart they were. Fonda later shared that Wayne confronted her harshly at a social event, making it clear there was no middle ground between them. Showing up at his funeral would have clashed directly with everything she stood for, and she was not about to fake respect just for appearances. Marlon Brando represented the complete opposite energy of Wayne's worldview. Brando was politically progressive, openly critical of American imperialism, and a strong advocate for Native American rights. He rejected the classic Western mythology that Wayne helped turn into legend. Brando once criticized Western films for celebrating genocide, a direct hit at the genre Wayne dominated. While both men ruled the screen in their own eras, there was no real admiration between them. Brando's decision not to attend was not loud or dramatic. It was calm, deliberate, and rooted in principle. Paul Newman kept his politics more low-key in public, but everyone knew where he stood. He supported civil rights, opposed the Vietnam War, and funded progressive causes for years. Those positions clashed hard with Wayne's outspoken conservatism. Wayne once brushed off liberal actors by saying, "A lot of actors pretend they're thinkers. I never pretended." That comment landed with edge. Newman rarely jumped into public feuds, but he maintained distance from Wayne throughout his life. When the funeral came, that same distance remained. No drama, just quiet separation. Burt Lancaster also stood on a very different side of the political line. Intelligent and outspoken, he criticized McCarthyism and right-wing extremism and believed actors had a responsibility to question authority. Wayne believed the opposite. He saw defending authority and country as a duty that should not be second-guessed. They respected each other's talent, but philosophy runs deep. That gap never closed, and Lancaster chose not to cross it in Wayne's final moment. James Garner's absence carried its own message, too. Though he served in the military, Garner later became critical of blind patriotism and the glorification of war. He once described Wayne as a good actor, but a man I didn't agree with. That statement was calm but clear. Garner reportedly disliked what he viewed as Wayne's dominating presence in Hollywood and his habit of labeling dissent as disloyalty. Harry Belafonte's absence hit on a deeper level. For him, this was not Hollywood gossip. This was about civil rights and moral lines that could not be crossed. Belafonte was a close ally of Martin Luther King Jr. and spent his life fighting racial injustice. So when Wayne once said, "I don't feel we did wrong in taking this great country away from them," referring to Native Americans, it was not something Belafonte could just brush aside. That statement cut deep. For Belafonte and many others, respecting Wayne's fame did not mean excusing his beliefs. Stardom did not erase impact. Wayne knew he was a polarizing figure. He never tried to present himself as neutral or universally liked. Late in life, he said, "I don't think you should apologize for being who you are." That line summed him up perfectly. It showed his strength, his stubborn pride, and also the loneliness that can come with standing firm while the world shifts around you. The actors who refused to attend his funeral were not skipping it out of pettiness. They were drawing a final boundary between the values Wayne represented and the America they believed in. That silence in the church spoke volumes. His legacy remains complicated. Millions still admire him as a symbol of toughness, patriotism, and old-school Hollywood power. Millions of others question the words he chose and the positions he defended. That tension has never fully faded. In many ways, the empty seats at his funeral told the real story. They were not empty because people forgot him. They were empty because some people could not separate the legend from the man. On June 11, 1979, John Wayne's life came to a quiet and painful end when he passed away from stomach cancer at UCLA Medical Center. He was 72 years old. Doctors surrounded him with care, but the outcome could not be changed. His death sent shockwaves through Hollywood and across the country. Fans who had grown up watching him felt like an era had officially closed. Colleagues who had worked beside him felt the weight of losing a giant presence. It was not just the loss of a man. It was the end of a chapter in American film history. After his passing, he was laid to rest at Pacific View Memorial Park Cemetery in Corona del Mar, overlooking the coastline of Newport Beach. The setting was calm, with ocean breezes and peaceful views stretching toward the horizon. It felt symbolic, almost cinematic. Family, close friends, and mourners gathered in quiet reflection, honoring a man whose life had been anything but quiet. There were tears, memories, and a sense that Hollywood would never quite look the same again. Even decades later, the debates around Wayne did not disappear. In February 2019, his 1971 Playboy interview resurfaced, sparking renewed controversy. Critics called for John Wayne Airport to be renamed, arguing that his past statements should not be honored publicly. Wayne's son, Ethan, pushed back strongly, saying, "It would be an injustice to judge someone based on an interview that's being used out of context." That defense reignited a national conversation. During the George Floyd protests in June 2020, calls to change the airport's name back to Orange County Airport gained momentum once again. Yet, as of 2026, the name remains unchanged. Love him or challenge him, John Wayne's story refuses to fade quietly. His life, his words, and even the empty seats at his funeral still spark emotion, proving that his impact, for better or worse, is far from forgotten. Even after the funeral ended and the headlines cooled down, the debate around John Wayne did not fade away. If anything, it got louder with time. His movies kept playing on television, new generations kept discovering his tough guy swagger, and critics kept digging into his past statements. He was not a figure people could easily box up and move on from. He stayed in the conversation, whether people praised him or pushed back against him. That kind of staying power is rare. For many fans, Wayne still represents grit, backbone, and that old-school confidence that feels larger than life. They see a man who stood firm in what he believed, even when it cost him friendships and public approval. To them, he was authentic. He did not bend to trends, and he did not chase applause. In a world where celebrities often polish every word, Wayne spoke bluntly and took the heat that came with it. Some people respect that bold energy to this day. But for others, the story hits differently. They look at his interviews, his political views, and some of his public remarks, and see a man who reflected divisions that still hurt communities. They question whether talent should outweigh impact. They ask whether cultural icons should be honored without acknowledging the full picture. That tension keeps his legacy complicated and intense, even decades after his passing. What makes it even more dramatic is how both sides feel so strongly. This is not a soft debate. It is passionate, personal, and tied to bigger conversations about history, identity, and responsibility. Wayne's films helped shape how the American West was imagined on screen. They also shaped how strength and patriotism were portrayed for years. That influence is massive. When someone has that kind of cultural power, every word they said gets replayed under a microscope. His family has continued to defend his name, especially when controversies resurface. They argue that he should be judged in the full context of his time and his life, not reduced to one interview or one statement. Supporters echo that message, saying no one is perfect and that history should be viewed with balance. Critics respond that words matter, no matter the era. That back and forth keeps his name alive in headlines and online debates. Meanwhile, the films remain: Stagecoach, The Searchers, True Grit, The Shootist. These movies are still studied, streamed, and discussed in film schools and fan circles. His walk, his voice, his presence, they are instantly recognizable. You can show a short clip, and people know exactly who it is. That is star power that does not fade easily. Even people who disagree with his views often admit his impact on cinema is undeniable. And maybe that is the real twist in this story. John Wayne became more than a man. He became a symbol. For some, he symbolizes pride and toughness. For others, he represents an era that needs deeper reflection. Symbols are powerful, and once you become one, you do not fully belong to yourself anymore. The public shapes you, debates you, and redefines you long after you are gone. The empty seats at his funeral were not just about personal grudges. They reflected the bigger split surrounding his life and legacy. Some stars chose presence, others chose absence. Both decisions carried meaning. Both decisions told a story. In the end, his funeral was not just a goodbye. It was a mirror showing how deeply divided opinions about him had become. Yet here we are, decades later, still talking about him. That alone says something big. Love him or challenge him, John Wayne left a mark that refuses to disappear. His life had triumph, controversy, loyalty, conflict, applause, and criticism, all wrapped into one larger-than-life journey. Few actors spark this much emotion so long after their final curtain call. So what do you think? Was John Wayne a fearless icon who stayed true to himself no matter the cost, or a symbol of views that deserve tough scrutiny? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this conversation is far from over. If you found this deep dive interesting, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story. There is always another powerful chapter waiting to be uncovered. See you in the next video.